America, sweet America, God shed His grace on thee, and crowned thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful, oh, spacious skies, forever waves of grace. Oh, purple mountain majesty, above the fruited plains. Oh, America, America, God shed your grace on thee, and crowned thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. America, America, God, please shed your grace on me. Oh, and crown thy good, yes, sir, with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, I know you can do it now, to shining sea.
Well, there are some acts that are hard to follow. That's one of them. The next person that you'll be hearing from is a pretty special guy. We've grown up in the American Legion together over the last at least 15 years, working on many of the same activities in the American Legion. I'm not going to read his bio because you've got it in front of you, and it doesn't contain half of what his accomplishments are. But I'd like to introduce him as the friend that he is. We've been through many of the American Legion wars, fought a few battles, and won most of them. Dale and I go way back. We've been together working on the state scholarship programs, and most significant to us is working together on the state boys state program. In fact, Dale was my mentor on the boys state program. When he decided that he wanted to elevate himself in the organization, he taught me much of what he knows. And I have been his replacement for the last 4 or 5 years. And you can get it back anytime you want. Today is fine. But we've worked together diligently for the American Legion and the programs that the American Legion stands for. I would like to introduce to many of you and present to the others my friend, National Commander of the American Legion for the year 2015-2016, Mr. Del Barnett.
And we had the French government that was bestowing their highest honor that they could bestow on those veterans. And she sang the French national anthem. And I went up to Eddie and I said, Eddie, I didn't know Nadine could speak French. And he says, she doesn't. And I said, well, you sure could have fooled me. But she went home, and for hours, in preparation for those World War II veterans, she studied and practiced, and she sang it, and that French ambassador for the Consulate General was just amazing. You're an amazing lady, you're an amazing couple. Thank you so much for being here. And I don't know about you, and I'm not a political person, but this last week, woo donkeys, you know, I'm exhausted, but I gotta tell you something. I've been going back, and I've been thinking back in my own lifetime. And I want you to walk back with me, if you would, in history to 1968. Now, a few of you were around in 1968. Quite a few of you. But if you remember January 31st of 1968, some of you may have been in a place called Vietnam. And that was the beginning of the Tet Offensive. And I never understood, as that was the first war that came into our living room. And the media somehow portrayed that somehow we were losing the war, but we won every battle. And our men and women who were there in Vietnam fought with such honor. But yet somehow we lost the credibility of our president, we lost the credibility of many of our senior military leaders, and I just couldn't understand it. And then you hasten back to April 4th, 1968, Memphis, Tennessee, the Lorraine Hotel. A domestic terrorist, James Earl Ray, assassinated the icon of the civil rights movement, Dr. Martin Luther King. Now, I was in Central Indiana at the time, and there was another very famous person who was there in Indianapolis. He was campaigning for president. His name was Robert Kennedy. And I remember watching the local news and watching as Robert Kennedy appealed to the people. And he said, I feel your pain because I have lost the brother. But we must come together as a nation. We must come together as a nation. And then I think about June 5th, 1968, Los Angeles, California, shortly after midnight, the Ambassador Hotel. And Robert Kennedy, too, was assassinated by a terrorist, a foreign terrorist, serving in Syria. And I was questioning in my mind, as a young person, what was happening to my country? Because my father had fought so hard in World War II, and Donna's father in both World War II and Korea. And what was my future going to be? And I was questioning. And then we harken back to August the 29th, 1968, Chicago, Illinois, where the political process broke out in total chaos as young people attacked the police and National Guard. And again, I was questioning as a young person, what would be the future of my country? It changed. It changed in 1969. Something happened in my life. It happened because of the American Legion. I went to Who's Your Voice Day. And I met some very chronologically gifted people, like many of us in this room, but they had a passion. And they planted seeds in my mind that if my country was going to continue to be the great country that it has always been, that I needed to stand up and make a difference. Those were the seeds that were planted. But you know, sometimes young people just don't get it. They just don't get it sometimes, do they? That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to play basketball. I know I thought I was a good basketball player, but you can look at me and you can probably figure out I wasn't. And we thought we had a good team, and we were good for the teams that played us. We won 3 games going in the tournament. Now don't you be laughing at it. I got a scholarship offer. I really did. I got a scholarship offer, I think, from St. John's University. No, not St. John's of New York. St. John's of Minnesota. And they wrote me this nice letter and they said, "Dear Dale, we would love for you to come to our university. However, we do not give athletic scholarships. We have not had a winning season for 20 years, but we think you'll fit right in with the program." Reality was setting in. Reality was setting in. And the most remarkable thing happened in my life. A counselor came back after an educator visit to West Point. And she came back and she said, "Dale, you need to apply to go to West Point." I said, "You don't know what you're talking about." I said, "It's February of my senior year. It's too late. I've been to Boys State. I know about this stuff." She looked at me and she said, "Because you went to Boys State, you need to apply." And she said, "There was one nomination open in the state of Indiana, and you need to apply for it." And I thought it was hopeless. So sometimes when those teachers or those guidance counselors talk to you, listen to them, because they may be looking after what's right. That dream was made possible by the American Legion. And I had a pretty routine military career, but boy, it was so honorable to serve your nation and to wear that military uniform. And I know a lot of you have those military uniforms in your closet. Don't know why you got them in there, because you can't fit in them, just like me. But you're so proud you wouldn't throw them away. And your wife wouldn't throw them away, because they mean something to you. And I wouldn't be a bit surprised if some of you took those old uniforms out and went down to a local school and you talked about serving your nation. Serving your nation with honor. And the pride that I heard tonight when you sang and had Nadine sing, "God Bless America." That's the pride veterans have. That's the pride veteran families. And it was such an honor to serve. But you know, I told you what I wanted to do when I was a kid. I wanted to play basketball and be a basketball coach and a teacher. And you know, somehow 26 years later, I was able to do that. And you know why? Because of the veteran helped me get my first job. It was right down the street here. It was right down East Point, Tri-Cities High School. Some of you may know the guy I'm going to talk about. How many of you know Dr. Herschel Robinson? Yeah, some of you know him. A mountain of a man, Vietnam veteran. And I had gone through the process, and the personnel board set me down to Tri-Cities High School to interview with Dr. Robinson, who lives right here in this community. And Dr. Robinson, I went into office and he said, why should I hire you? And I looked at him and I said, "Sir, in any man's life, he ought to be able to go from West Point to East Point." He said, "You're hired." You're hired, because he knew what veterans brought to the classroom. He knows the difference we made. And you empowered me. And people like James Robinson and others in this room have empowered students in this community to be better citizens, to be better people. And I thank you so much for making me a better teacher, because you make dreams happen when you're part of a great organization like the American Legion. And you know, after retiring from teaching, you know, I had another opportunity. I had the opportunity to this organization I love so much. 2.2 million members. 55 departments worldwide. I got to go to 50 states, 10 foreign countries. Met with foreign presidents. I met with foreign ambassadors. Met with the president. You know, what an awesome experience. 500,000 miles on Delta. I can even spell it now. But you know, what an experience. But you know, before I took command, they said, Commander, what are you going to do to get people enthused about the American Legion? I said, I want to walk. They kind of looked at me and they said, Commander, we don't do much walking in the American Legion. I said, no, I want to walk. I want to walk with the family. And let me tell you who the family is. It's the Boy Staters, the Boy Scouts, the Girl Staters, the Oratorical, the Legion Riders, the SAL, the Auxiliary, and the community who love veterans and want to help veterans. I want to walk with the community, and I want to tell them and make them aware of the needs of veterans and their families. I said, that's what I want to do. They said, all right, Commander, we'll give her a try. And no, we didn't walk. We walked all over the globe, had in some incredible experiences. But one I want to share with you quickly tonight is the story of the last Veterans Day. I don't know how many of you know, but normally the President of the United States invites all the commanders of the major VSOs to the White House on Veterans Day. And they have a breakfast there at the White House. And this is not a protest. I turned that invitation down and I said, my National Vice Commander. And he was happy to go. And I was too, but I said, I want to go to Selma. I want to do an awareness walk. And they looked at me and they said, Selma? Why do you want to go to Selma? Some of them didn't get it. And I said, I want to. And they called down to Alabama and they said, the commander wants to do an awareness walk in Selma on Veterans Day. And they kind of said, the Legion took the Ku Klux Klan to court because there was an injustice that happened. They had put a monument to all the deceased veterans of World War I in the city cemetery. However, there were some names left on it. All the names. And in 1926, it was the American Legion that stood up and said, this is wrong. You change it. And they did. They changed it. But you know, Friday evening, I was in a city not too far from here. And I told the same story. And they said, sir, we've got to take you. It was not more than 20 feet from the podium. And the same thing had happened in the community right here. And that injustice was not righted until 2 years ago. Right here, not more than 40 miles from this location. But that's the American Legion and veterans standing up for veterans. Well, we got back from the cemetery and a crowd had formed and my family was there. My Boy Staters, my baseball team, my Girl Staters. And we marched up this street a few blocks and with the mayor was right next to me, and we turned around and he said, Commander, we're going to stop at the bridge. And I said, no, Mr. Mayor, we're not stopping at the bridge. We're crossing the bridge. He said, Commander, you can't do that. That's a federal highway. You can't do that. I said, Mr. Mayor, you're not listening to me. We're crossing the bridge. He got on his cell phone and he told the chief of police, he said, they're crossing the bridge. Stop the traffic. And we did. And as we were crossing that iconic arch thing, the sun was setting on the Alabama River. It was such a beautiful sight. It couldn't have happened any better. And I looked up in the sky, and there was this TV helicopter, and they were beaming footage all over the state of Alabama. A protest march had broke out in Selma. Yes, we were marching for veterans. And you know, we got back, and we crossed over the bridge, and I thought it was over. It was beyond my belief what had happened that day. And the mayor said, he said, sir, can we go down for a small reception down at City Hall? I thought it was going to be 1,000 people. I walked in there and I thought I was walking into a Baptist tent revival. There were 250 250 people, and they were singing gospel songs and patriotic songs, and they were black, white, young, old, male, female. And they were coming together because of veterans. Because veterans do that. They bring people together. And right now, if there was ever a time in our nation, it's a time now that we need to come together as a nation, because this is a great nation. And our greatest days, I believe, are still ahead of us. We need to step forward. We need to be the leaders. And you might say, well, I'm just one person. What can I do? And I want to tell you about a little boy. He's 10 years old. You can look it up in Google if you don't believe me. His name is Alan Landers. He's from Dunedin, Florida. And I got to meet Alan last April. And Alan, when he was in the first grade, his school teacher said, gave a project that do something for your community. And he's an SAL member. And he's heard me talk about Alan before. And Alan went to his SAL meeting. And he says, I want to do something for veterans. And they said, well, we're going to do an honor flight. Maybe you can help us raise some money. And Alan said, yeah, I'd like to do that. And he did real well as a first grader. So well, he wanted to do it the next year. And he did even better. And he did it in the third grade. And this completes his 4th year of doing this project for veterans. Now, he's just a little 10-year-old. And he's raised $40,000 for honor flight in that area there in Tampa. If a 10-year-old can do that, what can we do individually and collectively? What can we do to make this a better community, a better nation, and lead by example? It's great to be a member of the American Legion family. I am so honored that I had the privilege that you bestowed on me. You made it possible. It would never have happened without the strong backing of the state of Georgia and the friends like your commander, James Robinson, people who stand together for what's right in this great country. God bless each and every one of you for who you are and what you do for this great nation. God bless you.